Hello everyone, today I'm taking on a colour challenge. So I've pulled out some scraps from my massive pile that I think could work. And this particular colour challenge was very much spring colours, spring greens, spring yellows and pinks and things like that. I've pulled out a photo that I want to use and I'm going to give it a quick test against some of those scraps to see what I fancy or see what works. And I'm also going to cut out some 1-inch circles just using a circle punch from this particular paper. In addition to that, this particular border punch I've got creates really dinky little waist circles, so I'm going to punch some of those too because, circles, and pop them onto one side. I have some tissue paper and a large flower stamp that I really want to use, so I'm going to stamp the image onto tissue paper using grey archival ink. There's nothing pretty precise about this. It's very rough, and as you can see, it's not a perfect stamped image. It's perfectly fine. I'm not going to use the entire image as one. I don't need it to be perfect. As you can see, I've torn it up into strips, and I'm going to stick that behind the paper that I've chosen to map the photo on. Just sticking out the edges. It's rough, it's ready, and it's not a perfect square, but it is going to add dimension and layers to the finished page. God, my brain does not work on words today. So once I've done that, I've added some of the pattern paper behind it, just in strips, and cut out a couple more circles just to add. And I'm going to start tucking those circles in behind the tissue paper. So you can still see a lot of the colour through the tissue paper, but it's not in your face and competing with everything. So what that tissue paper does is adds layers, it adds dimension, it adds visual texture without overloading the page. Because, I've got some busy patterns going on here and I want to keep it down a bit. I'm going to add some more scraps. I love using up my scraps this way. Just a few squares and bits of scraps just tucked in behind there. Add a bit of extra interest. And then onto those really dinky little circles. I'm going to use tweezers and some wet glue to stick them down. I want it to be a bit random. It just needs to look visually even. It doesn't actually need to be even. And I don't want them symmetrical, so it's a random scattering. I'm using the tweezers to help me with the placement because these are so small. Some of them, like their smallest is like a couple of millimeters, if that, which makes it really tricky. So I'm just swiping into the wet glue and popping it down on the layout. I'm not going to worry about where it is. It can be totally random. A layout is not going to be made or broken by the right dot in the right place. It just doesn't work like that. It takes a while to get all of these down, but personally I think it's well worth it. And as you can see, I'm not sticking just to the outer edges, I'm coming in towards the photo as well, so there's some on the photo, and I'm going a bit further out as well, so that scattering of circles is continued through the page and through this square. Square, and it helps to elongate it upwards without adding heavy layers or even more paper to it. So now I'm going to play around with some embellishments. I've pulled out my enamel dots because a page is not complete without enamel dots. Some of them may get used, some of them won't. I've also got some October afternoon stickers that I've pulled out. Now, these are old as the hills, but they're in the colours that are going to work for this colour scheme, so the spring greens and the yellows and things. We're going to use those, again, tucking them behind the tissue paper, so you've got these pops of colour, and also I'm cutting them in half, so I've got double the amount of sticker, because half of it's going to be hidden anyway. So I've got more sticker than I actually need. I actually use almost. I think that made sense. So just getting those stuck down. I'm not going to add much more other than my title after this, because there's a lot going on this page now, and that tissue paper just helps to bring that back and keep the focus on the photo. Now the title is Hand Over Mai Snax. This is Kitty Speaks. So me and my friends, when we talk to our cats, which I'm sure everyone talks to their pets in some way, shape or form, we have a specific voice for them. And in this particular cat's case, one of the lines that we attributed to them was "Hand over my snacks." And when he got his claw stuck and was reaching out, it really did seem as though he was trying to get to something, so, which isn't unusual for this particular cat. But that's it. I just wanted to quickly explain the title. It is very meme-like, and that's kind of the point. A few enamel dots here and there just to set off the page, and that's it. Really quite simple, lots of colours, but they're not overwhelming, and that's the really cool thing. This is what I love about the tissue paper. It's added so much texture and depth without adding bulk. So thank you for being with me today. I really hope you enjoyed this layout. I'd love to see how it inspires you. Tag me, subscribe to the video, and I will see you next time. Take care.